Hey, I knew something was off the second I saw a silver Lexus parked halfway across my lawn. It was early Saturday morning. I was sipping coffee on the porch when I noticed tire tracks carved deep into my grass. That wasn't unusual until three more cars rolled in like they owned the place, parking diagonally as if my yard had a valet. I'm Arthur Finch. I bought this house 3 years ago at the edge of Ridgeview Estates. It was a fixer-upper with charm, but the real reason I bought it? The long, private road that snakes up the hill, about a quarter-mile, is actually part of my property. It's the only paved access to the rest of the neighborhood, and technically, it's an easement road. I let the HOA use it out of kindness and a signed agreement. But that kindness has limits, and apparently, so does their intelligence. "Excuse me," a shrill voice shouted from behind a white Range Rover, now idling in the middle of my prize-winning petunias. "You can't block the community parking lot like that." I turned. There she was, Veronica Sterling, HOA president and self-declared queen of Ridgeview Platinum Bob, oversized sunglasses, clipboard clutched like a scepter. "Community parking lot?" I raised an eyebrow. "That's my yard." She flared her nostrils. "Well, it's being used for the Ridgeview Spring Social today. You were sent an email." "I don't check HOA emails. They're spam with better formatting." Veronica stepped closer, as if her stiletto heels gave her authority. "Arthur, you're being unreasonable. This is for the community." I looked at the dozens of folding chairs and tables being unloaded from a U-Haul and dropped right onto my lawn. One guy even started inflating a bounce house near my garage. "You didn't ask. You didn't get permission. You just decided to turn my yard into your party lot." She scoffed. "You live on HOA property, Arthur." "No, I live on my property, and the HOA uses my road because I let them. Don't confuse the two." She waved her clipboard. "No need to get defensive. It's just for a few hours. We'll clean up." That's when a kid sprinted across my porch with muddy shoes, knocking over my coffee. His mom didn't even look up. I took a deep breath. "Veronica, get these cars off my lawn. Now." "You're being selfish," she snapped. "This is why people don't like dealing with off-grid types. You're not a team player." I chuckled. "You're right. I'm not a team player. I'm the guy who owns the field you're playing on." She blinked. "I suggest you move the party. Because when those cars try to leave tonight, they'll find a locked gate and a very long walk home." Her eyes narrowed. "You wouldn't dare." "I absolutely would." She stormed off, muttering about calling the sheriff. She clearly didn't remember the easement agreement she'd signed. Access could be revoked with written notice, unless there was property damage or misuse, which there now abundantly was. I went inside, pulled out the paperwork, and started drafting the notice. By late afternoon, the hill was crawling with residents. SUVs and golf carts lined my road. The party was in full swing. Loud music, barbecue smoke, a rented DJ booth on my side yard, a generator leaking oil near my hostas. The original easement agreement allowed residents to pass through, nothing more. I had it scanned and sent to my attorney, Eleanor Vance. "You've got them cold," she said. "If they're using your land for anything beyond access, it's trespass. Damage makes it worse." "Could I revoke immediately?" "If you can document misuse, yes. The clause you included gives you the right to accelerate termination. But you'll need proof." "I had cameras, 4 of them." "Perfect," Eleanor said. "Actually, check your property tax records. If they're using your land like this, it's possible they've been reporting it as common area." That lit a fire. I logged into the county assessor's site. Scrolling through Ridgeview Estates HOA filings, my gut twisted. A schematic labeled Community Access Road and Shared Green Space had a dotted overlay across my entire front lot. They'd submitted it for a zoning variance 2 years ago, one never approved, but the document was still there. My phone buzzed. "Eleanor, I was right. They've been using a redrawn, unapproved parcel map in their annual disclosures to justify budget allocations and event planning." "Is that fraud?" "Close. Misappropriation. If they collected dues based on that false map, it could be criminal." I grabbed my DSLR. Trash littered the grass. One tire had torn a trench through the sod. "Arthur," a voice called. "Gregory Doyle, HOA VP, holding chicken skewers. Thanks for letting us use the space. Did you know this space doesn't belong to the HOA?" He frowned. "This is private land. The entire party is on it." His eyes shifted. "Well," Veronica said, "Veronica doesn't own it." "I do." And the HOA has no rights here beyond the marked road, which you've all violated. I told him the easement was being revoked. His composure dissolved. Wait, you can't. That's the only access into Ridgeview. I'll notify the city, provide temporary emergency access. But the HOA? They'll need to renegotiate. And this time, it won't be free. He backed away. Minutes later, Veronica reappeared, lips tight. You can't do this. You already did. You used a fraudulent map to justify this event, and you knew exactly what you were doing. That map was submitted in good faith. The one showing my land as shared green space? The one your board members still reference? She froze. I've sent everything to my attorney. Tomorrow, I'm filing a formal trespass complaint and contacting the city about your misleading documents. She laughed, unconvincingly. You think the city cares? I think the city cares when someone files false documents to misappropriate private land, especially with documented proof and a violated easement agreement. Her face lost its color. Pack up your party, Veronica. 36 hours before the gate gets locked. After that, any vehicle parked here will be towed at your expense. That evening, I filed the trespass complaint. The deputy was surprisingly helpful. Got footage? Send it over. If they used your land without permission and caused damage, that's criminal trespass. We can have a deputy present when you post the termination notice. Monday morning, Deputy Miller pulled up, followed by a city truck. Mr. Davies from County Zoning stepped out. I handed over the revocation notice, time-stamped photos, and a damage list. Davies whistled when he saw the HOA's altered plat map. They drew parcel lines over property they don't own? That's municipal fraud. You want to press charges? Miller asked. Absolutely. Davies posted the notice and a temporary zoning violation sign. A few commuters slowed, eyes wide. Miller explained the temporary 24-hour access. What's your endgame? Davies asked me. Accountability. And I want them to feel what it's like to lose control. Around 2 p.m., a black SUV skidded to a halt. Veronica, in a navy blazer, marched up holding a manila folder. This is harassment. You submitted a fraudulent map to the city. That's a crime. Her jaw twitched. Our board approved it. Your board doesn't own this land. She thrust the folder at me. A petition. Over 100 residents demand continued access. I didn't open it. This isn't a democracy. It's my deed. We've contacted an attorney. We'll sue for obstruction. You're welcome to try. But you'd be suing the person who owns the only road into your neighborhood. She faltered. We'll claim historical use. And I documented every day of it, including the signed, revocable agreement you violated. Deputy Miller interjected. Ma'am, your organization misrepresented property lines. That's a felony. Direct your concerns to your legal counsel. Before she could explode, an unmarked sedan with government plates arrived. A man and woman in dark suits. One flashed a badge. State Attorney's Office. You Arthur Finch? Yes. I'm ADA Thompson. This is Investigator Chun. We're here about the zoning fraud complaint. I handed them my evidence folder. Thompson scanned the altered map. This was submitted to secure budget approvals? Yes. For event expenses, maintenance fees, even an insurance policy for the so-called shared green space, which is my lawn. Thompson nodded slowly. That's wire fraud, misuse of public records, and potentially insurance fraud. They left for the HOA office. By evening, a city truck blocked the HOA clubhouse entrance. Officials inspected, then red-tagged the door. Property under investigation. Veronica vanished. A board member, Richard Bates, appeared at my gate, pale. Mr. Finch, we'd like to talk about a new agreement. A proper one, with compensation. I crossed my arms. Submitted in writing. We're also looking to dissolve the current board. We were misled. You were complicit. I handed him my new terms. Monthly compensation, maintenance fees, event notice, a county-signed boundary map. If you agree, I said, I'll consider reopening the gate, but only once the DA completes the investigation. Until then, you're on foot. An older woman stepped forward from a group of residents. Mr. Finch, thank you. We were never okay with what they did. That's what fences are for, I said. To remind people where the line is. A few days later, an unmarked van arrived at the HOA treasurer's home. State Financial Crimes Unit. The fake map had justified $70,000 in phantom renovations, moved to a shell company under Veronica's brother-in-law's name. That afternoon, Veronica was taken into custody. Later, Richard returned with Ms. Evelyn Hayes, state compliance auditor. "Mr. Finch," she said, "thank you for bringing this to light. Had that fraudulent map remained unchallenged, the financial misrepresentation could have escalated into full-scale embezzlement." "You're saying it wasn't already?" "It is now." Richard agreed to my terms, including one more. The HOA had to send written notification to every resident, clarifying my private property ownership. Ms. Hayes would oversee it. The following weekend, the gate reopened with an electronic system I controlled. The bounce house parties were gone. A week later, at a zoning committee hearing, the interim Ridgeview Board proposed a community lot on land they actually owned. The motion passed. Then, the chair gestured to me. "Mr. Finch, we'd like to thank you for protecting your property rights. Your documentation has been instrumental. As a result, the committee has voted to amend the municipal review process. Going forward, all HOA zoning requests must include verified proof of ownership and a signed affidavit from affected property owners. You may have just changed how the city handles HOAs." I didn't smile. I just wanted them off my lawn. My neighbor, Walter, was waiting with 2 lawn chairs. He raised a can. "If they ever try anything again," he said, "they'll have to go through a lot more red tape." "They already did," I replied, "and it strangled them." The grass grew back. A new, responsible HOA board was elected. They kept to themselves, and they kept off my lawn. But the best part? The gate stayed right where it was quiet, dignified, and locked by default. Not to keep people out, just to remind them whose hill this really was.